This is the director's little insights before the show begins to be able to explain my filming process, explain some parts of the filming that I've done, um, explain some of my situations on making my short film, Adam and Margaret. Adam and Margaret is a short film about a guy named Adam, and as he comes home from school every day, he comes and makes a little video explaining what he learned in one of his classes. He's a college age student who lives alone, and he has his dog, Margaret. And his dog, Margaret, is not feeling the greatest. The story of making this film first begins after work at a Walmart. Alright, so here I am at Walmart right now. Look over there. I am. Does that zoom in? Oh, I am right now going to grab myself a whiteboard, and that's going to allow me to do some stuff for my filming. It's pretty cool. Most big budgets have budgets. I don't. My budget is little to none, so we'll see how that goes. It has just occurred to me that I have no idea where to find the whiteboards. So I'm gonna go to the school supplies section and hope it's over there. And if not, then probably wander around for the next 3 hours until I can find it. Got him. Anyways, filming's tomorrow. So where did I park my car? Over here. So filming's tomorrow. I probably should have gotten more of these whiteboards so that way I can have a few handy, but that's okay. It doesn't really matter. But filming's tomorrow. Filming was indeed tomorrow. Now, currently I just kind of jumped in, but there was a pre-production side to this short film, which was mainly just me brainstorming of what I want to write, me writing the script and all these other things. And it was mainly really boring, so I cut that all out of this director stuff. Now, I came here and I decided I wanted to film this out in my car. I was going to go outside, film it all, probably take me 45 minutes to an hour of just straight filming with my whiteboard and just start going on. And here's how it went. All right, here we go. First day and hopefully only day of filming. A little excited, a little scared. Well, let's do this. All right, so for this, I'm going to be recording 3 versions of the scene. Each one's going to be kind of different, allowing me to create a director's cut that had, not a director's cut, what is it? Assembly cut that has all the scenes and all the different angles, so that way I can decide truly which one I want. There we go. That is all of the videos recorded. I mean, for the actual short film. Then I also have to do the interview videos and a whole bunch of other ones. So it's gonna be a little bit more of a pain to do that, but honestly, I'm excited. I'm glad. Let's do this. A few days later, while I was editing, I ran into a very small, slight problem. So I'm sitting here with the entire assembly cut for the movie. This is assembly cut, in case you don't remember, is when you have every version of the scene all together, just basically you just stitched all the clips that you filmed together. And I hate it. Absolutely hate it. I thought this would be a really fun project, and it is, but I don't feel like I did my best work here on trying to film all this. But it's Wednesday. Now, I've done some editing and some ideas and stuff like that, but I can either edit this full video, it'll be finished, I'll have plenty of time to do it today, or I can refilm the entire video and then edit it and then write the music for it and do everything for it today. But that would be a lot more work. I wouldn't be able to waste any time today. It would all be dedicated to Hack Deck. So it's one of my two choices. So as I was pondering this, I decided to go get some milk. And I decided it was better to refilm everything, to go back through, to get every single shot redone, the story redone, everything came back, and I didn't record any of it. I messed up, I failed, I didn't record anything I was supposed to, so now you just have a shot of me getting milk as a replacement. Anyways, so afterwards, I started to work on the music for the score. Alright, so as we're going through the actual process of making the music, I'm going to talk alongside it. As we're watching it, I'll talk alongside it. So first thing I do here is make it 120 beats per minute, which basically says that each beat is going to have, there's going to be 120 beats per minute. It's fairly self-explanatory. However, this beat here is a tempo, so that tempo dictates how fast I want the music to go. Now, by making it 120 beats per minute, it means that I can have what am I trying to say here? I'm put it at 4/4, which means that there's 4. So the bottom 4 means that there's 4 beats per measure, and the top 4 means that each beat is a quarter note. So by having it at 120 BPM, I'm saying that there is 2 seconds per measure. This allows me to really easily sync it up to the time with the rest of the film and stuff like that, which is really nice. Now, after I set the time signature, I started working on the melodies. Now, I just borrowed a couple melodies from classical songs. They'll have a lot of melodies like that, so just being able to borrow them and reconfigure them to my own is real nice. And it was about this moment, maybe a few moments later, that I said, crap, I'm not going to get done. Now, I set a timer for an hour to be able to work on music, so that way I didn't go way overboard and make a whole bunch of music that I want to use. But about right now, I was like, this isn't going to work. I'm not going to be able to make music for the entire 16-minute short film. After an hour of working at the end of this, I got done with 3 minutes of music. So I was like, that's insane, and I'm not going to be able to do it. So I went back and I got a different set of music, some stock music to be able to use. This means that my film is a complementary score, of where it uses both music that's not made for the movie and music that is made for the movie. So now there are 2 themes, main themes in my music. There is the introduction theme, which only plays once, and the film opens up with this huge introductory number. And the second is a leitmotif, which is the Margaret theme. Now, the Margaret theme has actually 3 different variations, which changes depending on the mood of the scenario. So, finally, let's talk about harmony. So, in music, when we're talking about harmony, we're looking mainly at chords, for mine especially. So a triad, in this case, we're using a major and minor triad. So a triad is 3 notes that are spaced evenly out, so that way it can make this beautiful sound. And I'm running out of time here, so I'm just going to end it now. Done. And now, with the edits done, that's a lie. That's a complete and utter lie. There's always more edits to do. But with most of the editing done, and I just have to pick out the final songs, I'm ready to show you my film. Thank you all for watching, for listening to me ramble on, talking about it. I should mention, so we just made this in the post-production. I made an assembly cut of this, but I didn't show it like the other assembly cut because I already showed one assembly cut. So this here is technically the director's cut because I am the director, but also technically the final cut because I'm the one who decides whether or not I should do it. So, yeah. Music's been made. No, it's the final cut because there's not a temp track to go with it. Boom. I can Logic. Enjoy my film. Hey, future Adam. I had a crazy day today in economics, and I thought, why not record a video about me talking about it? And you can learn about economics when you go to study. You know, it's just a type of feeling I have inside me. So let me explain what I learned today in class, and you get to learn about it in the future before finals. So today we talked about elasticity in class, and basically what that states is that for elasticity is how much does the quantity demanded change when the price changes. So when, for instance, a banana, the price for bananas drops by $1, how much do people demand more bananas? Do they demand very little more bananas? Because if you remember, the demand curve is this way. So when things go down, so when the price drops like this, you get more demanded on this end. I have a handy dandy little graph I made here for us. So let's go over it. So right here we have the bananas versus milk elasticity market. So for bananas, you can see that the price drops by $1. They're $2 per one, and then now they're $1 per one. Now the quantity, according to my graph here, is increasing by 1. So because the price dropped by 1, now everyone wants one more. For milk, it's a bit different. When you have so milk used to be $2 per gallon, now it's $1 per gallon. By the way, this is an example. This is not real life prices at all. Now for milk, when it's $1 per gallon, people are buying 1.5 gallons. And the reason for that, well, in my head, it was that people are already buying the max amount of gallons they can, so if the price drops, only a few people are actually able to afford some more. So those are the types of elasticity. Now, how you calculate it is the percent change in demand, in the quantity, over the percent change in price. So for instance, for banana, it's a 200% unit elasticity, while for milk, it's only 100%. So that's also the units we use here is unit elasticity, which basically states how much is it going to change. Now, what does a lower number mean? Well, it means it's either closer to one of these two. Now, we have perfectly inelastic, which is, trying to use all my things here. This is perfectly inelastic. So what does that mean is that the line, no matter what the price is, people are still going to buy the same amount of it. This is for essentials like water, electricity, food. Usually people aren't going to say, oh, let me stop buying milk because it's super high price now. They'll just complain about it. And this over here is perfectly elastic, which means that at one price, people will buy any amount of it. Now your unit elasticity basically says, oh, here's what, is it getting closer or farther, which one is it getting closer to? If it's a higher number, so if it's 500, 600%, it's getting closer to perfectly elastic. Hey there, future Adam. It's me, back again for teaching another, oh shoot, Margaret. Hey, future Adam. Sorry, Margaret was being a little bit temperamental. Say hi to the camera, Margaret. Yeah, that's a good girl. All right, anyways. Where was it? Oh, shoot, Margaret. Sorry about that. Margaret doesn't like people. I'm sure you remember. Anyways, econ. Today in economics, we talked about GDP. So let's go over that to make sure you remember it, because it's a little bit weird about all the equations and stuff. So first thing is the equation for GDP. It's right there. So GDP equals C plus I plus G plus NX. Now, if you remember, GDP is how you count how much a country has made. So here, C is consumption. What have people bought? I is investment. What investment in economics is different than normal investment. In economics is talking specifically investment into the economy. So if a business has opened up a new location, put in some extra money into R&D, that type of thing, it's an investment. Government is just government spending. And then NX here, I also wrote you might also see it, NE minus NI. But basically, NX is the net exports, not net yes. Something like that, I forget. I think it's net exports. Anyways, it's exports minus imports, but net exports minus net imports, so I'm not sure what the real name is it. But what you have to know is that you take all the stuff that you've made and sold to other countries and minus it by all the things that you've bought from other countries. All right, now, GDP, stuff that's counted in GDP, is anything made in that year that they're measuring. So for the 2023 year, if you make an Xbox in that year and sell it, that's counted in the GDP. What's not counted is resells. So anything you buy off of eBay that's already been owned by a person doesn't get counted in the GDP. And anything that's just resells. Oh, and things that are used to make another product. So the microchips to make Xboxes aren't counted. A house that's made and resold doesn't count unless it's sold for the first time. So GDP is your consumption. It is also your production. Also your production and also your income. What this means is that GDP is the same thing as how much you've consumed, bought in the year. It's the same thing as how much you produced in a year. It's the same thing of how much money you've made. All of those you can use GDP to use that. Now, GDP is affected by inflation. So we'll have to say, oh, what is the real GDP? What's the actual GDP that compared to other years? So we can correctly count it. So how you do that is you take the nominal GDP. That's how you measure it normally. So if nominal GDP is like $100, that's there. So we've counted up all the money and we've come up with $100. Then you divide that by the GDP deflactor, which is, oh, here's the amount that the GDP has grown by. Well, inflation has caused it to grow by. And then the RGDP is how much it really is. So the GDP, I don't know of an equation, but the RGDP could be like 90. And that's it for GDP. Hey, future Adam, it's me and Margaret. Really? It's all over the floor. Every time you do this, go and you barf. Oh, I should probably end this. Hey there, Adam. Future Adam. It's me to tell you about history. I'm going to deviate a little bit from the economics, but today in history there was something I would just like to remind myself about during the finals. So, the creation of browsers. So first off, we have the creation of the internet, which is when you had a whole bunch of big computers around the US, usually in colleges. Now these computers wanted to send messages to each other, so using old telephone lines, they started sending messages in small little bits. Now these connecting together created the internet, at least the first version of it. But this internet wasn't able to access browsers or websites, or there wasn't any of that. Then came the creation of hyperlinks, which is basically where you put one piece of text that you can click on, and it will lead you to a different page. This was a pretty big deal when the only thing you could do for pages was open up a program. So the fact that you're able to open up a different page that's over the internet that is connected to one source was a pretty big deal. So these two together combined to make the World Wide Web. Hyperlinks become URLs, which you can just put into a browser and find out where to go, find out what page it wants you to go to. Now, at the time of the World Wide Web, you had a whole bunch of URLs and not anywhere to get to them. No indexes or way to get it. So first, they created the browser, which allowed you to open up URLs and be able to access the websites. Now, the websites have their own little section. These sections are reserved computer systems to be able to host that website. And then the browser allows you to access it from your computer. And then, not the browser. Is it the browser? Yes, the browser. Now, then comes the creation of the search engines. Search engines allow you to say, hey, I want to look up this one specific thing, and it'll pull up URLs that match that thing. There's two types of search engines. There is the ones that use handcrafted URLs. Each URL is verified by a person on whether or not that's a real one or a fake one or a bad one. And then there is the machine, which is what Chrome uses and what most modern day search engines use. And that allows you to say, oh, let's just run it through the machine, and if the machine says it checks out, then they'll keep it. And that's how the internet came to be. All right. I'm back once again, Future Adam. And today I'm coming to you from economics to talk about R&D. So when a company invests into R&D, we're looking at it and we say, oh, well, how are they going to protect it? Because research and development, or specifically ideas, are in a really weird place in the economy because they're not marketable goods. You can't buy ideas. And they're also really hard to control. You can't really... if you learn an idea, you can spread the idea. It's like a virus, an economic virus. But, yeah. So, in economics, you have to put in a lot of effort to keep your idea secret, to keep it protected. So, for this, companies, when they put in effort to R&D, they use 3 methods in order to keep it secret. So the first is just keeping it secret. Make sure people don't tell about it later on. So it's fairly simple on how to keep it secret. It's not like in rocket science, but it's also really difficult to do. Not a lot of things stay secret, so it's considered one of the weaker options. The second way is to make it really difficult to reverse engineer. So if you sell a computer that you invented, but make it explode when you open up the computer, well, now no one else can reverse engineer it because it'll explode, which means they have to put in their own R&D in order to do so. And then finally, you just stay ahead of the curve. You keep putting in R&D, keep putting in research efforts and just make sure you stay ahead of your competitors. Now, normally this works, especially when neither side has great big breakthroughs, but sometimes one side can speed up and go faster, especially if this way of R&D, you don't have a huge advantage on the opponent. If it's like, for instance, Disney and Sony, Disney started a few years before Sony. Oh, well, it's really difficult for Disney to get a huge advantage in R&D. So those are the three ways to normally get your ideas protected. There is a governmental way as well, which is in the form of patents. But patents only protect 33% of all inventions. And that's mostly because only big companies can afford patents. Smaller businesses can't. And it's not really a viable way to protect it. And once you're a big company like Disney, Sony, Microsoft, those oligarchical, monopolistic companies, the rules of economics are really loose for them. It's really hard to measure their stuff to compete against them. Now, when specifically talking about about R&D, we look at Margaret? Frick.